So I'm here with Justin Lee, aerospace engineer who attended Tuskegee University. He's also the founder and CEO of Quantum Census. How are you doing today?
Hey, doing great, Ryan. Thanks for the opportunity for the interview, and I'm looking forward to it. I just want to say thank you in advance, man. Really appreciate you showing the love.
Most definitely, man. I was like doing a little bit of research from about you, and I was interested to know that you grew up in Seat Pleasant, Maryland. Was this part of Prince George County? What was it like growing up there?
Yeah, man, it was crazy, man. I mean, see, Pleasant, when I was growing up, it was like I was born in '86, so like the late '80s, like early '90s. It was kind of a rough neighborhood at the time. It kind of grew one of those reputations for being, being the rough, kind of like a rough part of Prince George's County, and it's like right across the street from, like DC. So I mean, I didn't have any idea about like how bad it was growing up. He just outside playing freeze tag, playing basketball, outside, hanging out with friends, playing throwback football. So, I mean, I really had no concept, about what it was until, like much later on in the like middle and high school. But yeah, I mean, that's home, man. So I'm just glad to be back in the DMV and just thankful, for the opportunity to just be back home with friends and family.
Definitely. I had my first introduction to Prince George's County through the words of Nathan McCall. He wrote that famous book, Makes Me Want to Holler. And he kind of describes like, growing up in Prince George's County and like the DMV area. And that was like my first introduction. I live like right now in Arlington, which isn't that far. But what was it like, educationally wise? Because I know you went to an HBCU. How did that, like, growing up in Prince George's County develop like your interest in like STEM?
Yeah, so like one of the coolest things was like my grandparents, they Albert Scott and Georgianne Scott, they lived in a city by the name of Largo, Maryland. And so, they were very, influential, working with, Maryland National, Park and Planning, which is one of the local, community, park and planning, when you think about recreation centers, when you think about, the civic organizations that are doing, positive things in the community, they had very, close ties to the late county executive, which he was pretty much like my uncle. His name was Wayne Curry. He was a county executive in Prince George's County for a while. I have some of their close friends, Hilda Pemberton, Dorothy Bailey, Miss Jackie. There are a lot of people that they were really tight with that were just around my grandparents' house all the time, and so one thing that they emphasized was, obviously like education. And, and that's I saw the Tuskegee University, the Tuskegee Airmen movie at my grandmother's house on HBO, not like the Red Tails, but like the original joint with
Right.
like Lawrence Fishburne, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and like, all these guys. So I saw that on HBO at like my grandmother's house, and I was like, man, I want to do that, and so, from then on, that's, what kind of drove my interest in, into STEM and what kind of motivated me to pursue a career in like aerospace engineering.
Definitely, like, I know you do a lot of work, like, in the community. Like, why is STEM important for the youth? I know, like, it's like one of those like underrepresented fields, like, for African Americans. Like, it seems like, the stereotype is like all of us want to be like rappers or entertainers, but there's all these great STEM jobs where people can make a good living. Can you talk about like, just like, the your pitch so it will for younger people who are watching this interview of like why they should go into STEM and why it's important?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like the field of STEM, I mean, it's like I just think of like innovation. Just think of different ways that you can, make an immediate impact on not just the nation, but like the world as a whole. When you look at a lot of the, inventors, they've created, different products that have like revolutionized, society, whether, it's a microwave or whether it's the airplane or whether it's rocket ship, rockets or, missiles. I mean, laptops, computers. I mean, to me, that's the innovative, world of STEM. And to me, I think it's cool because you get to see, the tangible application of, some of those principles. So it's not just, I'm studying mathematics, or I'm studying differential equations, or I'm studying, these physics formulas. There's an actual, application that's tangible, and you can actually see like the impact, and you get to see, how these things that you're able to create, with science and math and engineering, the different impact on society as a whole. So, to me, it's very vast too. A lot of people, they might just say, "Oh, okay, well, STEM is just being an engineer." I mean, no, I mean, you could be a physicist, you could be a doctor, you could be a physician, you can be a mechanical engineer that's, putting, space shuttles, on the moon. I mean, so it's a very, vast and, wide spectrum of research areas and concentrations that are available. I just don't think that there's enough emphasis on STEM, especially in the Black community, because most times you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? You get basketball player, I want to be a football player. You rarely get the hey, I want to be a mechanical engineer. You don't really get that. So, we've got to do our part, as a community, to emphasize to the youth and show them that there are, successful, alternatives, besides being, just a basketball player. So, we've got to do our job as well.
Most definitely. And I think that's amazing that you're an aerospace engineer. I think you're the first aerospace engineer I've ever interviewed. And after you graduated from Tuskegee, did you like, found and start your company Quantum Senses right away, or was that like something that developed over time?
Nah, so that was something that developed over time, man. Like I wound up my first job, leaving, Tuskegee. I started working at Eglin Air Force Base
Mhm.
as an engineer. And so that was a great, experience, and I'm thankful for it, because I started working, with, weapons and munitions and different bombs and explosives, and we were doing all types of, weapons testing from different fighter aircrafts. And so I was able to, once again, kind of see the direct application of some of those engineering principles that I, went to school and, got my degree in. And then, things started opening up. I started, another job, working in foreign military sales. So I started, working with coalition partners and international allies, and it started, my exposure started opening up, to the world, to start to see that, there are people in the UK, there are people out in Australia, there are people, in Israel and Canada and all these cool places, that have, common interests, as the US. So that was kind of the first opportunity that I had, graduating, from school. And then it just kind of, snowballed from there. I started like working with the Navy, and then I started working with Space Force. And so then that kind of led to my job now, where, I'm working with the Secretary of the Air Force at the Pentagon, with kind of like these high visibility, individuals and various constituents. So, I mean, my career, man, I'm just thankful and blessed that God's blessed me, and open up, various doors that I probably never known I would be walking through. So yeah, so the quantum senses, that was just kind of an afterthought. It wasn't something that I pursued directly, out of college. It kind of just, it came up, like later on.
That's incredible. Like, I give like, so much props, like, because I feel like, that's a great career path. And, the opportunity, I think like you see these movies like Iron Man, and like, it's like you're kind of like, doing what like Tony Starks is doing in in the movie, like a fictional character. That's cool.
Man, yeah, I wish, man. I mean, like, and that is, I'm glad you kind of use that, like the innovation thing. When you think of Tony Stark's, some of the things that he has is, I mean, obviously a lot of money, but I mean, one thing that he has is kind of like that independence. He kind of has that freedom, and you see him, he goes where he wants. he does what he wants. He's like he's kind of his own man, and unfortunately, working in the federal government, you can't really do what you want when you want. And that's kind of the origin of of quantum senses.
And you've talked in past interviews about being inspired by your friend Kenneth Tissot, a Vietnam veteran who struggled to hear the TV in the evenings. And I guess you came up with his dilemma by inventing a hearing amplifier. Would
Yeah, yeah. So my friend, his wife is crazy. Like his wife would complain about like the TV, and I'm sure we all know people that are like that. I know I've got personal, family members that have the television up too loud, and his wife would like literally be, getting pissed off at him because the television would be up too loud. And so, he had a fixed income, so he didn't have, hundreds, let alone, thousands of dollars to pay for expensive, hearing aids. And so that was kind of, the problem that I attempted to solve with, ear acoustic headphones. So, so since then, we've got a product that's non-electronic. It helps improve hearing for those with mild to moderate hearing loss. And it's kind of crazy because my friend Kenny, he wound up, passing due to pancreatic cancer.
yeah.
And there was a time where I didn't do anything with the product for like a long time. So I'm glad, things kind of turned around.
Yeah, and it's a price point of 19.99, which is like, very affordable and is not like, to replace hearing aids, but like, offer like, just a like, alternative solution.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you look at the hearing aid industry, there are like 48 million people that have issues with their hearing. And so a lot of times, these 48 million individuals can't afford, a $3,000 to $5,000 hearing aid. So it's like when people think about hearing aids, you see people wearing, but I don't think people have a true appreciation for like how much these things cost. Not to mention they're not covered, by like Medicare or Medicaid. And these are most times, out of pocket expenses, that people are paying, like $4,000 or $5,000 for like a hearing aid. And then the thing is, the electronics malfunction, after, between 5 to 8 years. So you got to buy another pair. Some people they lose one and they only have one remaining. So then they got to go buy another pair. God forbid you like drop them, or you like drop one in the toilet, or you drop one in the sink while you're washing dishes. I mean, those things can be like really expensive. And so a lot of people, are deterred because of the price point. But now, we've got something that's, affordable for, for like the average Joe, that can afford, like $20.
One of the things I thought was really interesting is that the acoustic headphones, they're green friendly, they're lightweight, and compact option does not require electronics, batteries, or wires. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And I mean, and the thing is, they're made out of like recyclable plastic. So when you think about, most hearing aids, you got radiation, you got to charge them, then you got to like interface it with your phone. Then you got to make sure that the software is updated on your phone to interface with the product. And most times, like if you think of like your grandparents, or like your aunt or uncle, most of them aren't really tech savvy at all. My granddad, he used to have like a flip phone, you know what I'm saying? So it's like most of the like seniors that you think of, they're like, they want something that's basic, something simple, and something that's easy to use. And ear acoustics is like it adjusts, it folds, it comes with like carrying case. And when people need to use them, they just put them on just like this. And then that's it. And then when they're done, they take them off, they put them down, and then they go about their business.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you have any plans like, to come out with any additional products?
Yeah, so right now, so ear acoustic headphones is our leading product, but we're also in the entertainment space. So quantum senses, we're focused on the five senses. So hearing, sight, smell. taste, and touch. And so we have a film that's going to be on streaming platform soon titled Turning Point,
Right.
and we've had like 4 sold out shows, locally in the DMV. And we I heard we by my agent, the film is getting picked up by several distribution streaming platforms. So I'm really looking forward to that. So between Ear Acoustics and Turning Point, you know, we've got some more things that we're cooking up. We're working on like another script for another film coming out soon by the name of Plight. So I'm just excited about what God is doing, man.
Right. I was reading that you were a filmmaker, and I was reading about the Turning Point film, and is quoted as it's a testament to the human spirit and the unwavering belief that victory is attainable even in the face of life's greatest challenges. Can you tell me a little bit about the film and why people?
Yeah, yeah, man. So like I wrote the film several years ago, and this is when I was going through like some crazy times, and Turning Point, it was actually, motivated by like the support group that I was in. So myself and several others are in a group for various reasons, whether it's substance abuse or overeating or anger or going through divorce or just a lot of things that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. And
I
so yeah, it's just life stuff, and but at the core, through faith and through prayer, and through, our faith in Jesus Christ, we were able to kind of, walk through those things and seem like, nothing's ever happened in our lives, And so in the film, you have this main character, he has some crazy difficulty, he faces a lot of challenges, but in the end, like his faith helps him come out on top. And it's like it's a really cool movie, man. It's motivational, it's inspiring. We filmed in Prince George's County and see Pleasant Act where I grew up, and also in DC, in like Anacostia. We filmed in, like Southeast DC. So I mean, it's a real, like hometown project that when people see it, it's gonna really like make people proud.
definitely, man. You mentioned Jesus Christ, and I'm a believer as well. Like, how has Jesus Christ, like, transformed your life? Like, what would you like, share the gospel for maybe people who are watching this interview who don't know Jesus?
Man, I mean, I would say besides like my wife, Jesus Christ is like it's probably like the best thing that I could ever done. But I mean, but I know a lot of times people they kind of get caught up in like the cliches and sometimes religion. Sometimes people get caught up in that, but it's like this thing is real. Life is real. Challenges and difficulty and things that people face, in life, is real out here, and like I just know that my life has changed because I have Christ in my life. And not to say that anybody is perfect or that, there aren't times where you have challenges or setbacks or difficulties, but with Christ, you'll be able to overcome anything in your life and you'll walk through different doors that you could have never opened or created for yourself. You'll be doing things that you never even thought that you would even be doing. I'm doing stuff, Ryan, that I didn't even go to school for, like things that I'm, the people I'm talking to and the circles that I'm in now. I have like no idea what I'm doing or how I even got here. But it's just because of, the grace of God, that's on my life. So I just thank him for it.
And you have such a multifaceted career. You've gone to Tuskegee, like a HBCU, like an MBA, like you have an MBA, which is incredible. And then you're also like, doing these in addition to having an incredible career, you're working on films. What would be your advice, like, to people who are, want to achieve success or want to like, reach a level like, that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even see it as that, man. I mean, I still feel like I have a lot of work to do. I would just, ask people to just say, ask God, like, what is, your purpose for me being here? I think everybody has a purpose in life, but sometimes people, they don't fulfill it because they're distracted by so many other things, like you know, being an aerospace engineer is cool, but I won't say that that's my purpose in life. I think, and I had this kind of debate with my wife. I'm like, what we have is it may be an occupation, but your occupation is not a calling. Your calling is, what God created you to do. It's
Right.
just that some of those occupations allow for you to, utilize your gift in a certain capacity. But I mean, I would say now I feel like I'm kind of walking in my purpose, whether it's, helping people improve their hearing abilities or,
Right.
sharing an inspirational story, to kind of help people show that there's a different alternative, when they're going through hard times. So to me, I feel like now I'm walking in my purpose, and I would just challenge people to just say, ask God, what it is He wants you to do in life. And once he places it on your heart, don't be scared or be afraid or don't allow money or I don't have this, I don't have that to distract you because if he gave it to you, he'll make a way for you to do it.
Most definitely. And you bring up like, a really important point because like I feel like, a lot of people have like, dreams that they want to pursue. I meet like a lot of different people like, and they want to like maybe be in the entertainment industry or they have this drive like to be like be a filmmaker, but they're afraid to take those steps because like their career, their path, and like sometimes it costs like especially like with entertainment you have to invest your money, and like some people aren't really like willing to make the investment like or to part with their money because like it takes away from like things they could do with their lifestyle, whether that's a vacation or like maybe even renovating your house. Obviously, like, you've started your own company, like, can you talk about like, using your own money to fund your dreams?
Yeah, like that's what it's about, man. It's real, man. Like when people talk about they want to start a business and when people they say, "Oh, you're not gonna make no money for the first like 3 to 5 years," I used to be like laughing at people. I'm like, bro, how are you not about to make no money for the first like 3 to 5 years? But it's real, man. I mean, it's so true. And the thing about it is, you like what people they say, you got to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Like because people they'll say, "Oh, well, I asked this family member for it," and you're gonna you're gonna ask family for donations, and you're gonna put in for these grants, and then you're gonna try to do all these different things, but a lot of it's gonna fall through. But at the end of the day, it's like if you have the resources and God bless you with the money to do it, it's like, I mean, it's up to you to do it. I'm talking about it's a word called sacrifice, man, and a lot of people they don't a lot of people they want the glamour and they want the nice car and it's like there's nothing wrong with that, but if you have to sacrifice for a little while just so you can get to where you want to be and you can still get that nice car, it's called delayed gratification. A lot of people don't they want immediate gratification, but delayed doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. It just means that you got to put it to the side for a little while so you can build something. So I know, man, for like the acoustics between the intellectual property, the trademark, the copyright, the engineering, schematics, buying the headphones, having them shipped. I mean, from the movie, from everything to paying the editors, to paying the production team, to even buying breakfast, for all of the cast members. I mean, all of it's been an out-of-pocket expense, but the thing is, you don't even, think about it that way because it's an investment. It's an investment. So it's not like we're not going to the club, getting VIP and we spend that money and then there's no return on investment. It's an investment. So you expect a return, so that's the difference. It's business, it's business, it's entrepreneurship, is creating a legacy and, trying to create generational wealth for the family. So you have your perspective about it. It changes because there's a bigger goal in mind than what we just see in front of us today.
Most definitely. And I think like, I that resonates with me really deeply, like because I'm a creative, like so like I spend a lot of money on my own projects, and I know like all about like that idea of like sacrifice and spending like money and not necessarily seeing a return, but like I like if I believe in a project, like it doesn't the money's
Mhm.
not the last thing on my mind, like I want to make sure like that the project turns out great. Was there ever a time along the journey, like with the acoustics, where like you felt like that this is kind of like a failure, or like
Yeah, man, it was a lot of times, man. I mean, even still sometimes, today because I mean, just because we have a product, you still gotta sell, you still gotta pitch it, you still I mean, I've made over like, recently I probably have called maybe like 5 to 600, different facilities and organizations. And out of 5 or 600, maybe, 25 or 30 of them, have said yes. And then a lot of times you get hung up on, or, people they're very disrespectful and rude, or,
Mm,
just talk to you all crazy, or or you kind of create some, it's a process because you have an early prototype, then you pay the money, to get it manufactured, get it designed, and then when you get it, man, I remember I had got this one prototype, and I was so excited. I was like, oh man, this is great. And so me and one of my guys, man, we were taking it to a presentation in front of a group of people. And when my guy, the account executive, when he took it out the package, the joint fell apart like in his hands. And he was like, yo, I cannot like show this to anybody because it's gonna like mess up your reputation. So I was like crushed because I'm like, man, every time I'm like taking steps forward, something always goes wrong. But the thing is, you just have to pray and ask God just for that perseverance and for that draft, and just keep in mind like why you're doing what you're doing. I know my motivation has been is like financial independence.
right.
And that's what I prayed and I asked God for. So it's like until I get there, that's what my drive is, just keeping the vision, in mind, so when you do face that adversity, you're not easily deterred from accomplishing your goal.
Most definitely. When you talked about like, the packaging falling apart, I couldn't help but think about Elon Musk and like, there were like videos online of the early prototypes of like the Tesla, and like, it would be like parts like falling apart sometimes. Um, were there any inventors like, that you taken inspiration from, or like, that you feel like, kind of like are like, inspiring to you?
Yeah, I mean, like I went to Tuskegee, so I mean, when you just think of like George Washington Carver, man. I mean, this guy he created like 1,000 ways or whatever with like a peanut. It's like this guy was in his lab cooking up, all these different inventions and ideas, for a peanut. It's like that's kind of one of those things you look back and you say, oh wow, man, like that's kind of like the legacy right there. That's like a Tuskegee University, like legacy, George Washington Carver, you had Booker T. Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, even I even saw like this one kid on Shark Tank. I was motivated by this kid, and that was one of the reasons why I was like, this guy was like 11 years old or like 10 years old, and this kid, he was out there pitching his idea on Shark Tank. And I said, God, I said, if you could do that for him and he's 11 years old, I said, I know you got something for me. As soon as I said that, he brought the idea back to my mind because I had put it down for so long because I was kind of depressed about losing my friend that I didn't even touch it. And so as soon as, God placed it in my spirit to pick things back up, man, I just been going like full throttle like every day, man. And I mean, and I'm starting to see some of the the fruits of labor, but it's still a lot of work to be done. So you don't even look at like or I don't even look at sometimes the little small victories, but that's good to do. But sometimes it's like you just so focused and have that tunnel vision. Sometimes you don't even see how much progress you made over time.
Most definitely. Like I think like I saw this quote online, and it was saying like, somebody's dreaming for the life that you have. And like I thought that was like, really powerful, because it's like, like where you're at, like, somebody is probably praying like, to be in that position. And like, it's like you don't look at it though, like, while you're going through the journey. What would be your advice, for entrepreneurs, people who are, just starting out, like, any pitfalls to watch out for along the way?
Yeah, some of the pitfalls, I would say just you watch out for the distractions. There are people that are gonna deter you. Some people are gonna say like, why are you doing that? Some people always gonna have an opinion about, about what you're doing. And I mean, you just gotta kind of, I call it, just lock in. I mean, you gotta have that tunnel vision and just stay consistent. I mean, it's one thing, if you got a hot streak, like a football game. It's one thing if you win like a great game, but it's better if you could win like, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. It's about being consistent. I don't care if it's, if you just doing one thing a day, whether it's, make a phone call, sending an email, or doing something. It's like every day you got to be doing something towards like putting your business in the best position to win. I don't even, it's like I'm even involved in like accelerator programs, and I'm still learning and still networking. And so it's like every day you gotta, try to make things better, for yourself and for your business.
Definitely. You talk about distractions and like one of the things I think like I have like as a creative is like I have an idea for a project and then like maybe it's like another project will come along the way. Like I think you'll see like Elon Musk I think like has a habit of that like where it's like he's jumping from like project to project it seems, and it's like obviously people have the ability to multitask, but like how do you focus and as far as like get one thing done and not get deterred sometimes, especially like because things may not be going. How do you know when it's time to pivot or like time to stick through it, or what is a distraction?
Yeah, well, I would say, I mean, one thing that's going to definitely keep you focused, man, is your those coins. If you have a limited budget, you definitely not about to be doing everything, because you
Right.
definitely want to see some return,
Right.
before you start jumping to another project. But I mean, that's one thing for me that is, I think, my thing is, if it depends on the project. If the project is like for ear acoustics, for example, this is something that I have to, keep doing until this product is in everybody house like around the country, or until these joints in like Walmart, and I go to Target like out of the state, and I go to, pick up some deodorant, and I see these joints
Right.
in the Walmart or Target. That's something that I have to keep doing until that comes to fruition. Now, for example, like Turning Point, the movie, there is a ending point, for a movie. It's like you start it, you record it, you produce, you edit, and once you edit, you get a distribution deal, or you sell it to somebody, and then after 3 or 4 or 5 years, then you can start shopping it around. So I mean, so it's different period, like different cycles, for different projects. So I would just say, it's different seasons. That's probably a better word for it.
When will we see air acoustics like at Target or Walmart?
Man, I mean, that's something that I'm working on daily. I would love to see it there by, I would like, realistically, I would probably say within maybe like 2 years.
Okay.
I would say probably like maybe in 2 years, to me, it would be like a realistic goal, because I mean, I just started getting product in like November of last year, and
Okay.
we've sold like maybe like 1,000 units, and we're in over like 25 states around the country. And so I see this thing like growing like rapidly. I mean, I just closed a deal with, it's called the Freedom Hearing Center, and they have like 5 locations around like the state of Maryland.
Okay.
So I mean, so things are gonna like grow rapidly. I just don't know how God is gonna do these things. That's why it's just important to be consistent, because you have an end goal in mind. The thing is, you don't know how God is gonna take you there. It says, a man makes his plans, but God directs your steps. It's like you have an idea. I know that I want to be financially independent, and I know I have to put the work in to do it. I just don't know who God is going to introduce me to today, or who I
Right.
might meet there, or you don't know the steps in between, which is okay.
Yeah.
That's why you
That's
got to
faith,
have
right?
faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
would,
yeah.
would you consider going on a show like Shark Tank?
Yeah, oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, Shark Tank, like, to me, that's one of the, that's the probably like the biggest, like, here's my thing. I get so geeked about this stuff because I never thought that I would be doing this. So if I even had like the opportunity to even be on that show, I would just be geeked about just even being on the show.
Mhm.
Like, of course you want to get a deal and close a deal and all that, but it's like, bro, I'm about to be on TV with Mark Cuban and all these dudes and the
Yeah.
FUBU man and all. Like I would be telling my fam, I would be telling all my friends, bro, just go, man. They gonna buy acoustics. They gonna buy it like from me anyway because I'm gonna be on TV. But I would be stoked, man. They would probably be going crazy. I'm on Shark Tank, man. I like a kid like me from C Pleasant, Maryland, on Shark Tank, man. That whole city gonna go crazy, man. But I would love that.
Most definitely, man. I'm here with HBCU grad, black engineer turned entrepreneur who invented an affordable device for the hearing impaired. His name's Justin Lee. Where can people buy your product?
Yeah, so you can go to www.theearacoustic.com. That's
Definitely.
theearacoustic.com. Man, we got different colors. We got red, we got white, we got black. I mean, and the thing is they're affordable. So, people can go online to the website. They're also on Amazon. You can buy them on eBay, you can get them on Etsy. Yeah, so like, yeah, just get a pair, near you. Think about your mom or your uncle, somebody that has the TV up too loud, or your grandma, she's in church, she can barely hear the pastor. Or when you go to the Kennedy Center, or when you go to the next concert, or you go to the next when you go to the movies, with your girl on Friday or Saturday, take your ear acoustic headphones.
Most definitely. Justin, man, I really enjoyed speaking with you. I'd love to have you back anytime. We got about like 2 minutes left before this cuts off. Hurricane Milton is barreling through Florida. What will you say to like, people who are like, worried about like, the hurricane, like, all the different tragedies we've been dealing with in the US? Do you have any words of encouragement?
Yeah, like my heart goes out to the residents of Florida. I lived there for about 10 years, so I know all about, the hurricanes and how bad it can be. So I just pray the angels of God protect everyone that's there. I plead the blood of Jesus over everybody. Everybody, like, please be safe. If they say to evacuate, please do not stay in your house. You could replace your house or your car, your boat, whatever, but you cannot replace your life, and that's what's most important. So please, like, evacuate and follow all instructions that they tell you. But man, prayers would be with everybody, man. So we love you guys.
Most definitely, man. And you make like a really good point because I feel like I see like on social media a lot of times people aren't taking like the evacuation warning serious. And like I even saw like a streamer, he was like offering money for people to stream through the through the hurricane, like which is dangerous, like because people obviously lose their lives in like natural disasters, and it's disappointing. But like Justin, man, I really enjoyed speaking with you, and thank you so much for taking the time. I'd love to have you back anytime.
Yeah, hey Ryan, man. Hey, blessings, bro. I appreciate you, man. I see the crazy work that you're putting in. Man, continue to do your thing, man, and continue to stay focused and be consistent with what you're doing, man. I see the hard work and it's definitely paying off for you, man. So I just want to say thanks, man, for inviting me today. I appreciate it, brother.
Most definitely. Likewise. I appreciate you.
All right, peace, man.